Mexico. She's like, we're okay, nobody panic.
Yeah, we're just to vacation.
That's crazy what's going on in Mexico right now. Hello?
Are we in the wrong, did I get the wrong spot, Steve?
Okay. Oh my God, sit next to her instead of her, so that could be a winner.
Okay. Just realized something.
So we would have to. No, it's just for the new position.
I'm looking down.
Oh, okay. All right. So in New York, you know, with the big snowstorm, when Donnie, the mayor, paying $30 an hour to show the snow.
Did you see where he needs the credentials and where?
I did,
Part of
I
that?
did, that was a huge thing.
Driver's license or
Yeah,
ID
you
or whatever.
had to have two IDs.
Two different IDs in order to run your plow truck.
They don't need both. $30 an hour.
Yeah, that's probably like 17 here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're probably right. But some of the, Rhode Island, I think they said, has hit the high mark of all kinds of snow in that area, like 38 inches or something. Just a little, just one little patchwork. Yeah, that's a lot of snow, considering what we had.
Okay, are we ready? We live? Okay, it's Monday, February 23rd, 2026, at 6:30 PM EST. I'm calling to order this February monthly council meeting of 2026 for the town of Oolitic. As a reminder, these meetings are being streamed live and recorded, and copies are available on YouTube, youtube.com. The channel is called Town of Oolitic, Indiana. Your presence online here or in the room signifies your consent to being recorded. If you do not wish to be recorded, please leave or disconnect now. Join me tonight in an open prayer and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege of gathering here to serve our community. Grant us the ability to listen with open hearts and speak with honesty. Guide this council in unity to act for the benefit of all. In your name, amen.
I'm gonna do this.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need to remind anyone that wants to speak at this meeting should sign in right here.
Give me a little bit. Put in our right here at the gate. Okay, perfect.
That's good. You missed it. What do you? Yeah, you need to put what you're gonna ask.
Okay,
What you're gonna
definitely.
talk about.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can put one word and then you can,
Down
when I
for-
call you, you can.
Work. Want to get your stuff down there too? Big thing. Okay.
Okay, we'll have roll call. The board members, Brenda Corey, John Brogan, Vice President,
Yes.
John Dillon.
Here.
Steve Kerr,
Here.
Carl Baker.
Here.
Town Attorney Greg Pittman.
Here.
Clerk Treasurer Annette Norick.
Here.
Town Utilities Clerk Carla Baumgardner. Street and Utilities Superintendent Wes Tipton. Marshal's Office Shane Hickman.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to minute approval. The Wednesday, January 28th, 2026 minutes of the January monthly council meeting was held at 6:30 PM EST. Are there any corrections or changes to that?
I'd like to make an amendment. At this meeting last month, we set the date for the public hearing to be 18th based upon my calculations. I did make that date. It is now tomorrow being the 24th. So we need to reflect that in these minutes, that there is an amendment to it. The minutes read as they happen, right? So it's a true picturesque of it, but we need to make an amendment in these minutes for this meeting that it is, the public hearing for the rate increase is actually tomorrow. My fault, it's my doing. I just simply struggled getting everything together that we have today. It is what it is.
It's okay. Thank you.
There's the minutes.
Just distribute, slash, just raw.
It's all those.
So,
So I make the motion that we approve the minutes as written for this meeting, or for the January meeting. A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
okay, the council will now hear from residents who are attending and want to speak. Everyone wanting to speak must have signed in up front here at the board table. Time limit is 3 minutes per resident. No walk-on topics or added questions will be allowed after the board moves into the old business section of this meeting. Government, my work here. Nicole Stout.
So we have presented a letter to you guys about the concerns about the high-speed traffic on Indiana Avenue.
Okay, has everyone had time to read that?
Have you clocked it, cars on Indiana? I know you sat over there sometimes.
I've sat over there occasionally. We had our portable speed sign over there. I still
Did you
don't have
get
a
a
way
copy
to
of
get able to
that?
take
So
off.
you know it's. topics about
We need to go ahead and load it. I've got it to myself, so we can collect it online until we get, we're gonna have to get some sort of pad. Windows pad.
It's sitting in the office, ready to be put back up. And then, yeah, it's still sitting over there.
Did anyone have any? I mean,
The only issue I would have with putting speed bumps over there is just with how congested those streets are. Maybe if we looked into one of the portable or temporary speed bumps that you could move around, that might be better. But if we put them down there, people need to be notified probably a couple days in advance. I know it sounds dumb to tell the speeders when not to speed, but if they're traveling at a high rate of speed, like you said, approximately 60, and they hit one of them speed bumps coming down there, the street is so congested, they're gonna slam right into someone's car.
So even versus speed bumps, what if it was made one way and it wouldn't even matter which direction? if it was just made one way, and that's part of the problem. You have cars on both sides of the road because parking's limited. I mean, we don't have a lot of driveways and things, and people can't help that.
Well, they're only parking on the east side, right?
No.
If we've got people parking on the west side, then we need to ticket them,
You,
because there's no parking signs up.
but you do have people parking on the other side.
We need to take care of that. That's an issue.
I'm not on the paper, but like if people order
That's fine.
a pizza, delivery people don't know what side of the road.
Well, but that's temporary.
Right.
Some people are temporary, there's others that are,
If we've
More
got
long-term.
permanent people parking, we need to do something about it.
Didn't we use portable speed bumps somewhere in town? Or we talked about it, growing neighbors.
We looked into it on Vista for a while last year.
I know we might have talked about it.
It came back down to the safety concern of someone could just put, you talked about those two hills. It's
and
hard
it
to see
seems like the
over.
higher speed traffic is coming. It appears to me that they're bypassing that intersection, and they're coming off the highway, hitting Indiana, and they're going south versus the other way. But you cannot see over that hill, and where our house is, we're right there, and I cannot tell you the number of collisions that people are, they're swerving. One of the council members that just happened to just the other day, it was almost a head-on collision. Like,
I've run it.
it's happened more and more frequently. And, a big concern for me is I take my granddaughter on walks up and down the sidewalks constantly, and they just fly. And there's lots of little kids in the area.
I'm not opposed to speed bumps. We need to put signs up. There needs to be a sign as you approach it, warning speed bumps. And as far as I'm concerned, other than an accident hurting someone or hurting somebody else's car, if there's a damn fool that comes through on a speed bump at 60 miles an hour and busts his car up, so be it.
And that's kind of how I feel about it. You
I
want
mean,
flying.
Now, what else we gonna do?
That's the speed bumps, problem for the town, no, with the snow removal or anything.
Well, he'd have to raise the blade when it comes to a speed bump.
And they make temporary ones that we can move. So they would be portable, they can be bolted, they can be removed by the street department. It's just something we would have to look into. I started to last year, but it got missed somewhere along the line.
And there's some vehicles that are notorious, like I can pinpoint some vehicles, but there's some that, are just random vehicles. And there's not just one certain time of the day that I can come say, sit here at this certain time, and this is when you're gonna catch them. It's all throughout the day. Some's in the evening, some's in the morning. It appears it's more morning and evening time. Those are the big targets.
I sat over there one morning, two different places on Second and Indiana, and then I sat across over in what is Indiana Avenue / First Street by where the laundromat's going in. And I encountered more traffic in the morning coming out of Indiana headed. I'm sure that's people who know. Let's put up the speed sign. What other solution do we have? If you make it one way, you make it more compatible, but you're still gonna have speeders. In my opinion, one way doesn't solve this problem.
You're still gonna have speeders, you're just not gonna have that.
I think
Head on.
before we change directions, or make it one way, either way we go, probably ought to look at speed bump signs and then speed bumps.
Well, and if we change it one way, north or south, in my opinion, we need to put a petition in front of the residents that live on Indiana.
And that was kind of our thought. Try speed bumps to see if it slows people down. There might be a couple cars damaged, but if you weren't driving 60 mile an hour, then your car wouldn't get damaged. That's just kind of how I feel about it. And if that doesn't
Mary
work,
Berry was here January or December? January, I think.
I know.
Same thing.
I know she's had concerns over it. Mary, our last name that lives right there on Third, she has a ton of concerns about it.
Yeah.
Some other people down the road. There's all kinds of people. I feel like probably 80% of the people on Indiana Avenue, if you want me to go door to door to get a petition, I'm willing to do that.
We would only do that for one-way direction.
I think they would all.
Greg, legally, to change it to one way. It would be a motion and ordinance on the floor, right? And then need to publish it. And for speed bumps, all we need is a motion on the floor to purchase and install, right? And we'd have to have signs.
A lot of signs.
And, well, I don't care whether we have a lot of signs. Again, if the fuel's gonna come through, let him wreck the car.
One in each direction ought to be sufficient.
So let's do the speed bumps and see how that does for a little bit. You can be the eyes and ears there. Let us know, and then we'll go from there.
So let's look at the cost.
So where are you thinking of putting the speed bumps up then?
Well,
That'd be it.
that'd be the other question.
We probably have to get Wes involved and get in touch with the director.
If you do the temporary
Councilman out
ones,
there.
you can actually buy them. We had them in our complex in Columbus. It's a condo. You can actually buy them. They're real hard plastic. If you hit them fast, you'll notice it. But as you approach them, they actually have reflectors in it. So as your headlights picked them up as you approached, you actually could see it. Of course, they were black and yellow striped. We actually installed ours with railroad spikes.
I mean,
Of course,
I think that's a great start, so.
And if they're doing 20 miles an hour, even if they don't see it until they're right upon it, not such a big deal. But, yeah, I mean, if they're doing 40 miles an hour, I don't have a whole lot of sympathy.
I'm telling you, there's some of these vehicles that are doing 140 miles an hour.
I've seen one that's the same.
That truck
kind of-
last night, I'm telling you, he was in every bit of 60, 65 mile an hour. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just absolutely flying. Not a
So
second
we're looking
thought.
at speed bumps.
Let's price speed bumps.
We'll price speed bumps and we'll.
Let's do some study on it and find out how, where to place them, see if there's anything with Department of Transportation on where to place them and how often. Because I'm thinking you'd need more than one, a couple, maybe three. Slow them down, get them slowed down, keep them slowed down.
I think we need to take a look at those mailboxes too. Have you noticed the mailboxes I did the other evening, and Nicole and Toby mentioned this. I had to come to an abrupt stop because the things were just really close. And I was trying to keep from hitting a mailbox in a 5-gallon bucket that they keep moving forward, and it's becoming an encumbrance on the roadway. I think I'll go down and have a look at that, see if I can maybe slide some in buckets back, because they're bringing cars more toward the west or the center of that road. It's getting cramped down there, and I think the mailboxes are a part of that. Yeah, it's tough down there.
All right. We'll find a solution. Thank you for-
Appreciate it.
Thank you for that. Okay, Danny Reynolds.
Yes, basically, we're here to, I think, ask for some help to try to find some housing and all. There's like, every place you go to, these apartments, basically you gotta be a certain age to get in there, the younger folks cannot get in. And, down deposit is way, way too expensive, we can't afford to live on Social Security. We applied for multiple different places, but they're said the 3 to 5 years looking at, basically. And that goes from over departments that are behind, I think that's Oolitic School, down that region there. Oolitic Manor and everything. Just we've been home for quite some time, and it's really bad for us because when most of them tore down my lady's trailer, we was gonna move back into, tore it down, moved another trailer in there, and didn't even tell us about it. And we tried to figure out a way to go around that, try to take the court on it, but we don't have the money to do that either. So we're just basically living in our cargo van and trying to make do to the time, basically we can try to find a job, and basically there is no jobs right here either. So we're trying to find employment and trying to find
I
housing.
talked to you guys for my house one time,
I think you did.
just a couple months ago.
I think you did.
Okay, Oolitic isn't set up for any kind of assistance, but you live in East Oolitic, correct?
Yes,
That's your
ma'am.
address.
Right now we're at Twin Wilson's old abandoned house, living in our cargo van.
Have you talked to Miller Jones?
I have briefed him of this situation, and he said there was really nothing he could really do. They kind of helped us out in the motel for a short time, and that's all right. I was very grateful for that, especially with it's below zero and everything. But right now we're staying at home with propane and trying to get a little buddy heater inside of our van to stay warm. And I think it needs to be addressed. Basically, this needs to change and things need to get better. There needs to be more available housing for folks, the younger folks.
I do know Polycor's hiring. They've advertised over and over.
Polycord?
Indiana Limestone Polycor is hiring right now, actively hiring.
Absolutely. I'd be totally interested in that. I thank you for that.
They are.
That's great.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, I've seen the advertisement 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. I have to.
So they're actively hiring right now,
Both the one here in the corner out here, you pass the dollar store, go down there on the right.
right there. Yeah, it's
Okay.
supposed to be Indiana Limestone,
Okay.
so.
So there's something you guys can do maybe to address the factor that there is not available housing area down here, that maybe that could be reached where we can make that happen for more folks like us, where it's available to younger folks like us that's actually needing it.
Town of Oolitic doesn't have the budget for such a thing.
Oh my goodness.
We are watching every penny as it is, right? Is housing short? Yes, especially low-income housing. But yeah, Oolitic, from a municipality perspective, doesn't have the funds in the budget to do such a thing.
Well, when is this work and this meeting get more funding for that type of program, where you guys do have that budget?
It would have to be extra funding that somebody goes out and does a grant for. It's nothing that we're gonna be able to come into anytime soon.
I see. I'd love to volunteer for this. Any way I can help out. Me and my lady both, we'd be more than happy to get out there and do our part. Absolutely.
Have you tried like things in Bedford, like the women's shelter?
Yes, I have.
And there's food pantries,
Yes.
Becky's place.
Yes.
I don't, just to see if you get some.
We just don't feel comfortable being in the atmosphere, and she don't really leave my side. We both suffer from some type of like disabilities, especially schizophrenia, stuff like that. And we just don't like to be alone at all. There's a lot of folks out there doing things we don't agree with at the
I
facilities.
get that.
Yeah, I just don't want to be a part of that atmosphere. Sorry. And also, want to add in that the men's warming shelter will not help anyone that is not there in that facility. They will not. We try to ask for funding to help down deposits on places that we could get into, and they said absolutely not.
The only thing I might add is that in Bloomington, there are several homeless shelters
Yeah.
that work with an agency called Centerstone.
Mhm.
And you might check into them because for people who are unfortunate and fall on hard times, such as yourself, they extend help or guide you, not so much as help, but they will guide you in the right direction as to where to find the assistance and the help or the guidance that you need.
We tried that too. We all went for Centerstone for about 2 years straight. And they said, seriously, oh God, it's so backed up, the listing is, that there was no availability for us at all within 3 to 5 years, maybe even longer. We went through all the other programs and everything else, and it ended up being a dead end road. And we don't want to go to Bloomington because the drugs and everything else that's up there is just insane. We want to stay away from the atmosphere, with all due respect.
How about Hamilton Courts in Bedford?
We tried that. We tried on that list, and there's only apartments for like 2 bedrooms, and we did not apply. And we also signed up for the Hawk House for public housing, and instead they keep on moving us up and down the list. So there's more people as got more checks than we do. They've got like more outstanding like money coming in, or it was a veteran or something else, you know. And we only got one little mark on there saying we resolved disability Social Security, And it's the only mark we got. We had number 40 went to 35 and back to 40. It keeps on fluctuating, but we're not even eligible for maybe about 3 years.
I don't know what to say. I really don't.
Well, you don't need it. That's why we came here.
Yeah. You don't have anything locally. We're not funded to even help out monetarily.
Now, there is a department that's opened up out here, Officer, what's her name?
Hickman.
Dickman. He advised me that the street name over here was 8th Street. He said over past the muffler shop.
Well, past Mother Shop is Fifth.
It's just like right there, you turn the muffler shop there, you turn make a left, and it's like a double duplex deal.
Little duplex on the right.
Yeah, that is opened up an apartment. Now we're requesting to try to get the landlord's phone number of any way to get a hold of him, because the apartment just opened up, the gentleman moved out yesterday. We'd like to try to get in there as soon as possible. If anybody can help us out with that.
Is there any
I would say, I
advertisement on the
dealt
wall?
with him, but I can't remember his name.
Not for that
Yeah,
particular company, that's a privately owned.
Yeah, it's private.
that's where she.
Belongs to a guy that lives in Bedford.
Debbie Henson.
Mark.
No, who it is.
On Fifth Street.
Yeah.
It's right across the street from the new house that was
Oh,
built.
we're talking Fifth Street. Okay, I was somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can't remember what his.
Diane, send Debbie Henson a message after her landlord is.
We may get a number for you before the meeting's over.
God bless you. Thank you.
Message.
Thank you very much. We do appreciate it.
I have that phone number. It's in my other notebook at home. Do you
She
have
may
a
it
phone?
for you.
Yes, I do.
May I have your number?
Yes, my phone number is 812.
All right, let me get it in the right
Take
place.
your time.
And your name?
Danny Reynolds. Danny J. Reynolds.
I'm sorry, my hearing aids is not working there, but
Danny J. Reynolds.
Danny J. Reynolds. What's your phone number, Danny?
812-329-8508.
8508. Okay, I can get you that number.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
We do appreciate you.
Okay, we'll move on while she's looking. Okay. We're gonna move on to old business. Carl, do you have an update or on the community crossing grant?
Yes, a lot of activity to report in the community crossings grant this month. We're pleased to announce that we're going to be resurfacing 11 roadways here in town this year in 2026. This work is going to be performed this spring, early summer, not before March 15th and no later than July 15th. The work's to be done. We're going to mill and resurface roadways. And I want to mention that these millings will be deposited up here on the North Hoosier Avenue milling dump site at no cost to the town. We've got E&B. E&B is going to be performing the work, and it's at a cost of $193,000 at $193,857.50. We've worked on our CCMG grant, and we've been awarded $155,086. The town will provide a 20% matching amount for that, $38,771.50. These funds are going to come from the Indiana Limestone Polycore donation. We've managed to get this project off the launch pad at no cost to the town. All the roadways that are going to be resurfaced are in rather poor condition. I want to list these roadways that we're going to resurface this year. First of all, we've got Hoosier Avenue from Main Street to First Street, mill and resurface right there. The next segment is Hoosier Avenue from First Street to Lafayette. So that entire roadway is going to be resurfaced from Main Street going all the way up to Lafayette. Now, this roadway is going to be maintained at a pavement and asphalt evaluation rating of 5 or above as we move forward as part of the Indiana Limestone and Oolitic Road Maintenance Partnership as the Indiana Limestone annual donations continue. Next on our list is a roadway that I've been hearing a lot about. Folks have been asking about it, South Lafayette Street, and we have finally gotten the funding to make that happen. We're going to resurface Lafayette Avenue from 10th Street, moving south, going all the way down to Hoosier Avenue, resurfacing that, milling and resurfacing on that road. Oak Street from 6th Street to 5th Street, mill and resurface. That roadway has a passer rating of 3. 5th Street from Milwaukee Avenue, heading eastward up to Indiana Avenue. That roadway needs a little bit of help on the side of it there, and we're going to be relying heavily on West Tipton and the street department to shore up the open ditch storm drainage on the north side of that roadway. And we intend to possibly use some of the millings to put down on 5th Street heading west up to the dead end, and with a little luck we might get E&B to roll that out for us. I'm going to try. Next on our list, 9th Street from Hoosier Avenue to Walnut, mill and resurface that roadway. It's in poor condition, poor passer rating. The segment between Lafayette or Walnut and Lafayette is still in fair condition. 8th Street, however, we're going to do 8th Street from Hoosier Avenue past Walnut Street all the way up to Lafayette. 8th Street from Hoosier to Lafayette. Pave that the full length of that roadway. First Street is a roadway that we adopted and assigned it an NDOT route ID number back last year, and the purpose for that was to make it eligible for this grant funding. And we're also going to do some widening on that road, widen it to 12 feet and resurface it. And this will facilitate better access to our new business in town, the laundromat. That's First Street. Okay. Smith Avenue, we're going to mill and resurface Smith Avenue from Hall Avenue heading north up there to 8th Street and do the length of Smith Avenue there. That's our list. Now, as for other roads that are in poor condition and that they're not on the schedule for 2026, they're going to be addressed in 2027 and in 2028. We have a detailed road inventory listing condition of all the roads in Oolitic and their conditions and their pavement and asphalt evaluation rating. Our 5-year road treatment plan summary calls for upgrading all of our poor roads to a fair or good condition that are at a 5 or above on the passer rating. And that's what I've got on the CCMG grant for this month. Very happy to announce that. As for our tornado siren, I don't have any news. We're waiting on the funding, and when we get that funding, we're going to be ready to go on the installation. The coordination and operation of the emergency siren is all in place. We're just waiting for that funding. Moving on, there's some good news coming out of the Oolitic Heritage Restoration Fund, our nonprofit. And we're working on the firehouse restoration project, and we've gotten some estimates on the safe and professional removal of the debris there from the recent roof collapse on the firehouse. We've recently set up a PayPal business account, and that is set up as a non-profit public charity, and we've successfully enrolled in the PayPal Giving Fund program, and that'll open new doors for fundraising opportunities. Just last week, Brenda Burton has submitted a grant application through the Oolitic Heritage Restoration Fund and the PayPal Giving Fund to fund this debris removal. And we're waiting on word for that. I've been told we'll know something on that within about a month. We'll have some word on that. There are other irons in the fire, and we're working our way through those. Does anybody have any questions on any of this in regard to roadways and stuff?
I've actually got one. When they mill them down, do we know how many inches down they go? And my concern really with that is I've seen several occasions where when they've laid new asphalt, this is on roads that may have been done 20 years ago. Like I know on, it's either Nykark or Meadow, a lot of cases where you'll see we've got the cement curves that go down, and they've actually blacktopped or part of that. Can we make sure, I don't know if it's in the bid process or if we just need to be all over them when they do the project to make sure that they don't, that number one, they do mill it down instead of just re-blacktopping on another layer.
Absolutely, Steve. I know exactly what you're talking about. The roll curves right
Yes.
there,
A lot of
and
them
it's
have
building
blacktop
up.
on. Yeah,
This building up of asphalt. I've noticed the interference with our roll curves, and that's not going to be the case. These 2 inches of milling. To answer your question, the estimates and the instructions to bidders call for 2 inches of milling. So they're going to mill this down and then put that asphalt back in there. And none of these roadways are going to have that type of problem with the roll curves.
Good.
That was done in the
That's a concern,
past,
yeah.
and I don't think it's ever going to happen again. As long as I'm doing this and getting the help and guidance that I get from the rest of the council, that's not likely to happen again.
Yeah, if we know the install dates, maybe we can have Wes keep an eye on these guys, just a thought, or I'll be glad to go out too. Because that's been a concern of mine. It just looks on some of the roads that were done, could have been, 20 years ago, they look pretty sloppy on that.
Yeah, it is in our contract with E&B that the street superintendent is going to be there to measure and inspect the type of asphalt. I'm gonna be out there with my little ruler and I'm gonna measure and make sure that people are getting what they pay for. We've got to remember that we've got E&B on this job, one of the best in the business. And I think that they're a very trusted company, and I don't think we're gonna have any kind of problems with them. But as a council and Wes Tipton as a street superintendent, he's going to be prudent and do our job.
And one last thing is, I know that there are some markers that are supposed to be in the roadway that the county uses for like property lines. I don't know what they call those, but we need to make sure they don't cover those either. I've heard folks say that that is an issue. Any kind of surveyors are looking for that. I mean, they could probably find it in another sector, but it's supposed to be visible from the roadway. I don't know if our contract talks about that, but just would be curious to find out, make a look at that later.
We'll be attentive of that. So,
But didn't want to get you off track.
no, I'm not off track. You can ask me any question about these roads. You got any more?
No.
Anybody else have any questions about roadways today? That's all I've got, Brenda.
Okay. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate your hard work on it. Really good. We'll move on to new business. John, I'm gonna turn that over to you since you're the one that put in all the work on all this.
5 items you can see from the script. Tomorrow is the hearing for raising the water rates. We also need to raise trash sanitation rates, and we also need to raise the stormwater. Stormwater was last raised in '21. I have no clue how long it's been since trash was raised. Trash, in my opinion, and I put it in front of you, it needs to be at least 14 a month. It's a $4 a month increase. Right now, it's $2.50 a week. If you add the 4 to it, that makes the household $3.50 a week to pick up trash, which is reasonable as hell. Especially if you look at what Bedford's charging. I think $16.50 right now, and it's going up to $17 next year. We're still lower than any of the surrounding communities, and we're very low compared to if you contract with Rump. So to me, 14 is still reasonable. As I put in here, what I understand to be, if you're counting on 470 households, and that's more or less, right? That gives you $65.80 a month, and my understanding is the new invoice from Ron is gonna be $5,804.50. Now, I also advocated in the ordinance for this. I'd like to do a motion tonight that we agree to raise it. We then need to take and schedule a public hearing for it and for stormwater. We can still do the motion tonight, we just can't do the ordinance and vote on the ordinance till after the public hearing.
Anything Bedford has their own codes.
Yeah, we're not gonna go into that.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive, and it would be one more thing that street department has to maintain, and we don't need to put anything else on West and G at this point. I have my own tow, if people wanna buy a tow to put it out, do so. But I honestly don't wanna be in the trash business at all, other than pay a monthly bill. Steve and I worked the trash truck compact when we had it. I don't care to get back into that. What I start saying is I advocate in it and also the ordinance that we do for stormwater and for trash, like we're doing with the waters. We add a clause where it can automatically be increased 2 to 4% a year if it's warranted. If the cost of living, and you'll see this tomorrow night in the paperwork that I put together, the cost of living index has gone up in the last 6 years, 22.49%. Oolitic has absorbed all of that increase. We can't continue to absorb the increases. As expenses go up, the town needs to realign what its fees are and what its services are and raise it according to, in my opinion, keeping current with the CPI. Other businesses do it. Our contract with Bynum for water and sewer, he has an automatic CPI built into it. That's why we are where we are today, right? So, others' thoughts? Negative for the 14, against the 14?
Well, John, I've got a little bit to add to that. It's pretty thin and close right now. I was looking very closely at the APV on page 5 of the APV. This month we brought in $4,600 on the sanitation. In some other reports that I've gotten, that we were getting about 470 times 10, then would be 4,700. So we're working with a margin of less than $100 on that. If we went back to the January APV, the expense was almost $5,000. So we lost money. We lost $300 last month.
What expense was $5,000 in trash?
Uh,
The only expense we should have for trash is what we're paying monthly to Ron, isn't it?
there's payroll comes out of it for temporary workers. On page 5 of the APV,
Shouldn't.
I don't.
it's
have
on
that.
there, $96 for Caden. And there were other things. It's on page 5 of the accounts payable voucher.
We shouldn't be paying payroll. Payroll should not be
It's-
subsidized out of trash. We have nothing to do with trash. We're no longer picking it up. So why are we subsidizing
That
payroll
was-
out of trash?
That is something that was never changed, because that is what is built in. We still do heavy haul. So that was one of the items that, one of the, individuals, temporaries, was paid for heavy haul. They're picking up debris. Payroll comes out of MVH, sanitation, water, sewer, and the general fund.
Are we taking payroll out of stormwater?
No.
Why not? If we're taking it out of everything else, we ought to be consistent.
Because that's not a work,
Sure it is. They're
Well,
going around
it's
cleaning
sewer.
storm drains.
well, then we would need to revamp everything. But that's one thing that payroll has been, and I've sent out reports that show how payroll comes out of the water, the sewer, the sanitation, and the general fund. Those were set up underneath, and that's one of the things we probably need to sit down as a group. Because this is something that has been, again, that was set up and gone on for years whenever, and that was one of the things that I had mentioned the other day about we don't pay, our employees are no longer picking up trash. But yet we still have heavy haul, we still have brush, we still have those items. And that's something that I would have to check in with the State Board of Accounts, how everything is divided up into payroll.
In my opinion, heavy haul and brush needs to come out of road and streets. I don't consider that trash collection. In my opinion, if we leave trash collection as part of payroll, then we need to include stormwater. Because the guys do periodically go around and clean the grates. A couple of times last summer, we actually used, before the jetter went down, we actually used the jetter to clean out a couple of stormwater drains. And again, to your point, if we're gonna hit all of them for payroll, we need to be consistent. So Carl, based on where you're going with this, what's your proposal to raise it then from 14 to what?
$16.50 Max Bedford. On page 3
I
of the
think that's
fund,
gouging the customers.
well, it's $20 and $25 if you're out in county. I also had a thought about this, that we could go with the 14 for a while, but keep a really close eye on it and see if we're losing money, because on page 3 of the fund history today that I received, I looked at it, and this month, in regard to sanitation, in the fund history, we took in $3,670.98, and we paid out $4,815. Now, I question the accuracy of these figures, because the money received recorded in the fund history on page 3 does not match the amount of money that we had taken in on page 5 of the APV. This might not be the venue to talk about that, but sometimes I'm asked if I had questions about financial reports,
Well,
and that's one of them.
Okay, and it's not necessarily going to happen that way, Carl, because keep in mind, when the individuals pay their bills, that's where the sanitation is brought in. So look at it this way, if 25 people paid their bill in March, or let's say January, and then 50 people paid their bill in January, you're going to have more income coming in February than you did in January. The
There'll
sanit-
Still
be
in
a
the middle of
variance.
the month.
But there'll be some variances as bills are paid or people don't pay their bills, right? The delinquent reports, right?
Or look at it this way, this is another thing, where this in February, we're in day 23 and we're having our meeting. We still have another week left of February. So some months you might have 3 weeks, some months you might have 4 weeks. So if we start and that was one of the things that Steve and I were working on, Steve Anderson and I were working on, was starting the billing and payments and everything on the first of the month and collecting. So that's gonna play a role in it too, as to how many days a week that you're looking at as opposed from one month to the next.
Kind of prorated then.
Yeah,
Because it was kind of concerning to me when I looked at this today and found we've lost $1,200 this month.
but let's do this. Let's back up and you or Steve pull a report. What was our total sanitation collection last year? All of 2025, right? Let's look at it as a holistic end. And also, what was our total sanitation expense last year? That way, you're not going to get into your variance a month where you've got a good month versus a bad month. What's our overall end product?
Or a quarterly,
Yeah.
some kind of quarterly review that would let us know where we're at in a financial report out of the clerk's office that we can look at and make decisions based upon that.
Well,
I'm having a lot of trouble with that.
yeah, but that's not possible right now until Steve completes the overall balancing. Our reports are not accurate yet. So that's why I'd say we'll have to have Annette or Steve pull one to give us total 25 year-end expenses and sanitation income. Eventually,
I haven't seen one in 2 years.
Eventually, Carl, you're right, we need and will have what I'm gonna call a good old-fashioned income and expense report.
Yeah,
And that's really what we need. By categories.
I agree with you.
The best thing we have right now, and that was courtesy of Steve, is that fund detailed history report, which does list all the expenses but more importantly, all the income coming in. But it's just a typical Keystone report that's hard to read, and you can't, the totals and subtotals don't mean a damn thing to me. So where do we, John, Brenda, Steve, where are you guys on track? I mean, Carl's got a point. If we're gonna pay more out of trash sanitation than just simply the inbox monthly invoice, we need to cover it. We can't continue to eat the cost of doing business.
Could we maybe look at 14 and revisit in 6 months?
So I
think
like
that's
that.
street time.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, if it made, John, that's kind of what you were putting in the clause, as to revisit
Right. I
raising
guess,
rates.
well, but based on Carl's conversation, right, Carl's points, I guess what I'd like to see is what was our total income last year for sanitation and what was our total expenses? Equal out at the end of the year, where are we? Are we negative? And if so, then let's look at what it's gonna take.
If it is a negative, let's approach that, within 30 days, get it fixed right away. We don't want to be in the negative, but, I mean, I'm not an advocate for raising it any more than we have to, but based on what you said, we really have to do something.
Correct.
So we cannot go in the red, unlike the federal government, we can't do it.
Well, we're in the red now, it would be my opinion, personal opinion, right? And whenever Ron submits the new contract, we'll be in the red.
Let's do 14, then wait quarterly or 6 months and reevaluate.
Well, based on Carl's conversation, what I'd like to propose at this point, rather than put a motion on the floor and go to 14, let's table this discussion until next month.
Okay.
Let's get a report and see what we're doing. I'd hate to have to raise it now and in 2 or 3 months or 4 months or 6 months, raise it again.
That's all right.
I think that's a perfect solution.
Let's table this discussion.
Do a lot more research in the next 30 days to get something real solid.
Are you tabling trash only or all three?
No, just trash. We haven't really talked stormwater and I think we need to.
So you need a motion and a second vote to table.
Or do we? That's new to
We
me.
were just discussing it, we weren't,
Even,
we were
Motion
just
to table.
having a discussion, so we have.
Well, it's an agenda item, you want to table the agenda item until next month, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
careful, not an agenda, it's a script item. I don't put agenda to any of this. That way we're cleared by state statute. And I'm serious about that. This always needs to be looked at, referred to, and talked about as a script, not an agenda item. And I'm splitting hairs, but that's all right, we'll split hairs until somebody up higher rank comes back and says you can't do that, and then we'll have to have that discussion. So put a motion on the floor to table the discussion for raising trash rates. A second to that,
I'll second it.
Carl. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Done. Now, what about stormwater?
You were going to 14 on it, what's that?
We.
Um,
we got-
I'm agreeable to that.
The last time it was raised was 21. We were in COVID, the meeting was over at the firehouse. It was being raised from 6 to 9 in preparation for the stormwater project that was being handled in the manor and down at 6th and O. Tangi put a motion on the floor to raise it to 9. Jim Jenkins had discussion and said you might as well go to 10. So we settled on 10 and that's where it's been. But again, like water rates, like trash rates, you can't sit on the thing for 5 years when you've got work that has been done. Nykerk Lane in Rolling Acres would be a perfect example. There's absolutely zero stormwater drains. That road has a history and all the water running down it, we need to dig up both sides to put in storm drains. We're gonna have to put in at least 1, if not 2 storm drains down here on Hoosier before we mill it and blacktop it. So we've got some stormwater work that needs to happen. Now, I guess I'd ask the same question. I think 14 is adequate at this point based upon our past history of stormwater improvements or problems. I'd like to see Annette, the same kind of report. What was our total income last year for stormwater revenue? What was our expenses? And let's see what kind of a kitty there is. So what's your pleasure on that? Do we take the same action on the stormwater that we're taking on trash, wait for the report and see what happens?
I don't think the stormwater matter has so much complications, unless there's payroll coming out of it.
No, there's not payroll coming out of it, but we have a loan note for stormwater.
I had a note I was gonna ask about our total and our monthly stuff, but not in a meeting, but I wanted to get with you on that. So,
What thing? I mean, we gotta take action. We have to do
Yeah,
something.
we have to. I say let's take action, raise the 14 amount.
John, you good? Steve? So I'm gonna put a motion on the floor that this council raises the stormwater rate from its present $10 fee to $14. And that's $14 per month for all the households that have water. Now, second to that,
I'll second that.
all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. So the other side of stormwater I'd like to propose, and Carl and I talked about this, but I don't have the appetite for it, or the time, or the patience. What really ought to happen, and I can't tell you how many households we have in town that don't have our water, but we really need to take stormwater and run it through the auditor's office on property taxes. That means every household that's paying taxes, unless they're totally exempt, right, we would be collecting stormwater on.
They have skin in the game.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And according to a recent report that I got from the auditors and the assessor's office, we have 668 parcels within the city limits. Now, the other report I'm waiting on is how many of those are zero pay. But that's really, in Columbus, that's what we did. Your stormwater fee came along with your property taxes. So it's food for thought. I think that's really where it ought to be, but I don't have the patience, nor the time, or the energy, or the desire to kick that off. Okay. Third item for discussion, this Carl brought this to my attention, and he rightfully do so. We have a reconnect fee. Annette, are you, with Carla not here, when we do a reconnect on water, when somebody's water shut off due to lack of payment, do we collect that reconnect fee?
We do.
Okay. And does that, I assume that then goes into the water resource?
Water goes into water, sewer goes into sewer.
Okay, makes sense. Right now, that reconnect fee is $20. I go along with Carl. Carl's suggestion was he made 50. Bedford's is 40 and Mitchell's is 50. Isn't that right, Carl? Did I get that correct? You did the homework on it. So
I've written in some notes, but I just can't remember right.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. The other item, so I'd like to consider raising it from 20 to 50. The other item is after hours fee. Our after hours fee right now is $40. Well, I can tell you with the cost of living and the cost of business and the cost of transportation, when When Wes gets a call at night after hours, to go turn water on, he gets in his truck. He's not about to let somebody go in overnight. He leaves his house and he comes out back into Oolitic and turns it on. So $40 doesn't cover the cost of everything involved with Wes turning water on after hours. So I'd like to raise it from 40 to 75.
Sounds like the right number to me, and I just remembered it was $50 on a reconnect fee. The other municipalities that we often compare charges to are at $50. Where were we at, 20?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, that's incredibly low.
So I'll put a motion on the floor for this council to approve raising the reconnect fee for water turnoffs from 20 to 50, and after hours reconnection fee from 40 to 75. Do I have a second? Brenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. What do we decide to do on sanitation? Or I mean on stormwater? We really didn't put that guy to bed. So I guess what I do at this point, because my next item is, we got to set a public hearing for the increase of sanitation and stormwater. Since those are utility rates, we have to have a public hearing just like we do with water. Now, on the reconnection fee, we don't, because that's a fee. Now, the ordinance change we make for that, we'll have to advertise the ordinance, because it is a fee change. So I'm going to put a motion on the floor that we table the stormwater increase until we see a report of what the income and expenses were total for last year. Second to that motion?
I'll second.
Brenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. I think. Well, our last discussion item, really. It's come up is OVFD as far as water use for training from the outside hydrant located at their location, in the tree plat at their location. In the past, they've given us volume used, and Carla has added that to the water loss report. With a water loss report of 53%, we can't continue carrying anybody. So in my opinion, this council needs to determine how we're going to bill and charge OVFD for any water they use outside of that hydrant that's out front of the station. Discussion?
Can we put a kind of a permanent meter on that one? And I mean, we'd know if it was used for a fire, so it wouldn't be anything but training at that point.
Yes and no.
Or is it worth it financially? Because I know a meter's pretty expensive on that thing.
Yeah, what I saw online today was a smaller meter, smaller than what Wes has today that he uses when we flush meters, right? It was anywhere from $800 to $1,200. Now, if we're going that route, and I think we either need to buy a separate meter that they would use. I don't advocate we leave it on the meter, because you can't lock it on the meter. That we house both meters, or at least one, and they come up and use the town's meter that we have today. When they sign it out here at the desk, we need to reset the reading to 0 and caution them to the fact it shouldn't be reset. When they bring it back, that's what Carla would use to invoice them for the water used. Now, if you really want to spend bucks, there are hydrants out there that have a built-in meter. And you can track everything that goes out. But you're talking in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $12,000.
Yeah, it obviously would seem not financially feasible, but what if they had their own hydrant there used for training or emergency if they had a fire at the firehouse, but would be used primarily for that, but it sounds like financially that wouldn't be a consideration.
The only other item I have, and I don't know whether, I think Greg would have to check on this. We have the ability to charge for a private hydrant. But I question, and I don't have I didn't bring that with me. The new water rates. There is a charge for a private hydrant, but I would question the amount of water they use. How does the actual cost of the water they use belly up to the price of the private hydrant?
Are they using that hydrant to fill up the water truck too?
I assume they do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at some point, again, we're a nonprofit, we don't file taxes, so I can't declare a loss, right? If I could eat the price of that water and declare a loss on taxes, that'd be one thing.
Right.
But in this case, it's no different of what they use than what we've got leaky pipes, right, throughout town because of the old infrastructure. Again, why should the town of Oolitic eat the cost of that?
Right.
It's just like the resident we had over in Rolling Acres who filled his pool last summer from the hydrant, right? Thank goodness we caught that and we turned around and billed him for it, but the same difference. Water's not free. Now, they may think, okay, I don't have to pay for it, but any gallon, by hundreds of gallons, that comes through that meter on the top of Oolitic Hill, town of Oolitic's got to pay for it. I'm tired of people having a free ride. So how do we change it? What do we do with this?
We should charge them for the water. We have to buy it. It's not, is there anything there's nothing currently in the fire department contract about that?
No.
Right now. And I talked to Wes today about this, and I asked him what the value of that meter is and what it would cost to buy a new one if it were broken, lost, damaged, or by the fire department. And he said he was going to get back with me.
Probably gonna call Waller and get a price from Waller.
He didn't know. I asked him how he felt about loaning it out, and he was a little nervous about that, loaning our expensive equipment out, and something happened. It's going to cost us a lot more than the water. So I don't have a number on the value of the meter and what we are risking, but I do know it's risky. Anytime you loan your expensive equipment out to anybody, you're taking that risk. It's a risk I don't like to take. But then I don't feel that people are also able to look with their eye and say, well, how many gallons of water came out of that? What qualifications, what training, what skills do they have that I don't have to meter that?
Those are estimates.
Especially when they've got a financial interest in the number.
Right. You're just swags.
So it's if we don't meter the water, we're going to lose. if we do meter the water, we're taking an unacceptable risk. It's not a good choice to have to make.
But you gotta make it. What's your pleasure?
Say again.
What's your pleasure? I mean, we gotta do something.
We gotta land somewhere.
We gotta start recovering and making up for the losses. And this is a loss that we can control. Now, if we got a broken pipe underground and we don't know about it, that's out of our control until something surfaces, right? In this case, we know water's being used and not being paid for.
We could utilize the honor system until we had reason to feel like we needed to meter it. Or we can, go ahead and let them use the equipment to measure it. Here, I've got an idea. What if we metered it at first for 2 or 3 episodes? So that gives us a rough idea what kind of water they're using for training purposes. Then we pull back the meter and so we'll go ahead and estimate it. And that'll give us an idea of what it's supposed to be to begin with. And if they deviate too much from the norm, once we've established that norm, if they deviate too much from the norm, we'll put the meter back on it and be checking. Start out with the meter and if we get feeling comfortable, you know.
And when you say start out with a meter, so have the meter up here at town hall where they have availability to come pick it up. Sign it out. We need to record the reading when it's checked out here. And we have to rely on the honor system with them that they install it correctly and don't screw up the hydrant. There's risk all the way around. But again, is the risk outweighing the cost of what? Not my opinion. Greg, based on the fact that I have a new contract in front of me we're gonna talk about, is something like this, should something like this be in the contract for OVFD?
Probably should. Yeah, probably should, especially since you haven't, something different is what's been done before.
Right. New process or new policy, right?
Well, it doesn't say, in the contract doesn't provide them the right otherwise, but
Correct.
past practice is, yeah. It probably should be addressed. Yeah.
And if we add it to the contract, then we need to get down to the detail to state that the process would be they come to town hall to check out the hydrant meter.
Yeah, I mean, the more detail you put in there, the better probably. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'll put another motion on the floor that the discussion on charging OVFD for water and or using the hydrant meter, we table this discussion at least till the next special meeting or next month's meeting, and gives Greg and I a chance to redo the contract to include this. I don't see a reason, there's no reason to put a motion on the floor and sign a new contract now and have to redo it in 30 days or less. And they have, right now, we're in cancel, right? Cancel mode on the current contract. We have until April, I believe it's 6th or 8th before that cancellation expires. So we do have time to get it out to them. I want to give Ted and Magnus and the others plenty of time to review the new contract prior to the April, I think it's April 6th deadline. Have a second to my motion?
Second.
Brenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Done. So we did the reconnect. One item I was gonna ask Annette for, and I forgot all about it, so I don't have the detail. But the next item, our last discussion item, we have an old leaf truck. The old blue Betty that they call it, that was used to, it was filled up from the leaf machine when the boys go around and collect it. Pardon my French, but it was a pile of shit when the town bought it. And we gave $2,000 for it from the city of Bedford. And Zach and Wes have done nothing but pour good money into it, and it's still a pile of shit. Sometimes the brakes work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they build up vacuum, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it starts and runs great. Other times it starts and runs rough as a corn cob. Since Wes, this past summer, we gave him the authority to build a new leaf collection box. And it was built out of 2x4s and heavy plywood, and it's exactly the size to put in the back of the Ford 550. We don't need this truck anymore. So in my mind, I want to classify it as surplus equipment. I want to put it out and take sealed bids on it. And if we get no sealed bids, then we can either sell it direct, or we can turn it to scrap, or we can donate it. But it's an asset sitting over there right now. I see no reason to put more money in it. And right now, we're paying for insurance on it, which is stupid.
I'm good with it.
So put a motion on the floor that the old Chevy trash truck that was purchased for $2,000 from Bedford in 2022 is no longer being used. The truck is rough, hard to start, has vacuum issues and brake problems. Also, the truck allows the truck to be removed from the town's insurance policy. By state statute, the truck must be advertised asking for sealed bids. So when you and I need to work up an small ad for the Times Mail. The truck will be sold to the highest bidder. If no bids are received, the town can sell, donate, or scrap. Do I have a second to that motion? Dylan? Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
John, I think, did you skip 5?
No, we already did
That's gonna be
the
taken.
reconnect. Yeah.
We put our motion on the floor of the table.
To table okay. Well, that was reconnect fee for the water.
We put a motion on the floor to raise it,
That's
and it was approved. Motion
Okay.
carried.
All right, I have 2. Okay, I got 2 notes on here. Okay.
We did sign that.
I will get with you sometime, if not later this week, and that maybe the first of the next, we'll come up with an ad for the paper on the Chevy truck. Let's
Okay.
pull the title out of your safe and get the particulars as far as model number, year, engine size, and all that kind of stuff.
This one here is on.
We tabled that,
Yeah, the next item is the fire department contract.
and they tabled that.
We've already, yeah, we tabled the discussion on it.
Okay, we'll move on to department reports. Annette, do you have any updates?
No, I don't have any, there weren't any invoices out of the norm to approve, no building permits. The CCD, that should fall into this year's taxes.
Do we know that for fact?
I don't have it, I mean, I'll have information, but, and I don't know if it would fall under spring or the fall. So I'll get more information on that, but we did,
Let's call the auditor's office and
Okay.
ask, because in order to assess it, DLGF would have to send them the formal paperwork for approval, right?
right. Yeah.
That's, I guess, would be my big question is, did DLGF do their job? If they did, great. If they didn't, then we need to ring somebody's bell in Indianapolis.
Good luck.
Yeah, but I'll follow up with that.
Let's see what the auditor's office does before we, I hate to have to do a road trip to kick somebody's backside in Indianapolis, but we could do that.
I'll pat you on the back and tell you what a good job you're doing.
Okay, we'll move on to utilities updates. We've all signed the water adjustments. So, we didn't have anything out of the norm on that. Did we? I don't think so.
There was only one adjustment.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion to approve this month's water adjustments?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I do.
Do I say it out loud? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, our invoices to discuss and approve, the Excel sheet shows details. Do we have any discussion on any of the charges?
Just not only charges, but discussion of point. I just talked to Annette about this today, and we can get with Carla tomorrow. I like the fact, and Carl does too, the fact that Annette or Carla added last month's Bedford's water invoice to the Excel list, given the fact that Bedford's increase went in and it's a substantial bill now. I'd like to go forward to have Carla list in each monthly tab what the invoice is for Bedford. It was over 14,000 last month or month before, and it was about 13 or something, a little less. But it'd be nice going forward with that big bill and that being the primary reason we're raising our rates here, right? It'd be nice to know what that bill is consistently going. It'll also help the council monitor as weather breaks and we start looking for water leaks and have the leak test people come down from AIM. It'll be helpful to look on a monthly basis, is that bill going down, consumption going down?
I do think we ought to track that monthly and the 4 or 5 factors of that, so we can watch, loss going up or down, how are we reacting compared to their bill?
Rather than just having the amount on there, would you like to have the bill actually scanned to you and let you look at it so you can see the reads, or do you want to list the reads on there?
I don't care about the reads. I'm more concerned, I know the dollar, if the dollar goes down, that means consumption or gallons billed have gone down. And that's primarily what we're looking at. And Carla does keep another sheet of the reads that if we want to update that can, but I like her consolidated expense sheet that she gives us. Let's just add the water invoice to it.
Anything else? Do I have a motion to approve the invoices presented in the amount of $13,824.05?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Wes didn't have a street utility report, does he? Okay, Marshall's report, did you have one, John?
No.
Okay. Marshall's report, Shane?
I just got a few things for you. So we do have January and February's activity for the marshal's office set up, or at least February so far. So everything we've done, we've tracked. I just didn't have time to get it all put down on a sheet for you guys. We're gonna start doing that, and then end of the month, the previous month will be placed on the door of the marshal's office if anyone's interested in, or is available by request. Training, we're still doing work with the CADIS, trying to figure out how to keep on top of that with everyone that's there. Staley's still progressing with his FTO, just a little bit slowly. We have got most of our state mandated trainings at least started. We're getting there and working with Lawrence County. For training, Staley did complete his IDAX test as well, which gives him access to Spillman, so he can actually type things into a computer now. As far as miscellaneous activities, obviously the part-time and the reserve positions have been posted. We've been getting a steady stream of applicants and interested parties. The background and responses took a considerable amount of effort from Officer Riggs especially, so he's been killing it. We did quite a few assists with county, including loading out one of our portable radar units for a shift for them. We've been going to their calls, trying to learn what they're doing, and make sure that we're up to date with them. We did do targeted traffic enforcement in various places. I spoke with Steve about it earlier. Fish Street and East Oolitic, Bennett Dollins, State Road 37 and Patton Hill are a few of the places. I've started following most of the school buses during routes at least one day a week. So pick up and drop off times, I follow school buses, make sure everything's good for kids. We are at 0 open cases at this time. Riggs closed out a years old case recently, so we're back at 0. There's nothing pending for us. Riggs is getting his uniforms. We did locate some old ones. We're still looking at some eBay options to try and get better prices on everything for him. He won't need too much. And then obviously we relocated the evidence stores to a more secure location. And then we did some fun times with Lawrence County, brought them some Lickies and Chewies to dispatch. They had a good time there. As far as any vehicle issues, there were none except a battery issue with Crown Vic. It was a dry fuels or a dry cell inside the battery. It took us to the water. We're all good. So we're all good to go on the market's office. If you have any questions or you guys want the numbers, just reach out. I'll get them to you. It's all there. I just didn't have time to get everything put on the sheet for you.
Thank you, Shane. Okay, council member updates. I don't have anything tonight, John.
I've got a couple items. In my pending next meeting file, there was an IURC asset management report. Greg, you kind of responded in one of the string of that email that you take a look at it. I'm not sure who owns it. I'm not sure who ought to complete it. I've never seen it before. And I couldn't, and the email didn't even have a copy of it. I went out and tried to search for it and couldn't find it. So I'm not even sure how the hell we get a hold of a blank sheet to fill it out.
I sent a copy of the administrative order from the IURC.
Yeah.
To Senate, and it's got an appendix A to the order that has what's to be included in the report. It doesn't have a form. They may have a sample form at the IURC. So the statute allowed the IURC to delegate it, and they delegated it to a committee, I guess, or another division of the IURC. And they were to put together kind of a synopsis of what's required so that utilities could, there's wastewater and water utilities that have to report this if you're not under the IURC.
And you have to report it every 4 years,
Yes.
I think. Yeah, and I'd like to do an editorial comment that this is another lovely law that was signed in by our illustrious governor that affects all of us utilities that are not under the IURC right now. This still has to be done. Even though Oolitic's not under their thumb, Oolitic's not ruled by IURC. In this particular instance, I'm going to call it the dirt bags in the legislature and our governor decided that we needed to be impacted from a little town with little people to take care of it, right? We don't have the staff, we don't have the funds. Come on, I mean, these people need to wake up. I did go out and find out that that law was voted yes by our local representative and our local senator. So I would encourage each of you to reach out to both of them and tell them that they need a good swift kick in the backside. Again, another impact to a small town, a little guy. What the hell? And what are we gonna hear from IURC but a bunch, they're probably gonna come back with updates, or this is not consistent and this is not standard under their policies. Well, we're not part of IURC, so what the hell difference does it make? I see no value filling out this form, and I haven't even seen the form. But it's another hot button where the legislature ought to have it jammed up the backside.
So if you can't get your hands on a form, or if they don't have one, whatever, then maybe Bedford could help with showing what they did and share what.
Has Bedford done
Should
theirs?
be. I don't know if it's complete. I know they're working on it. I can't remember if it's done or.
Are they under?
No.
Okay. Good stuff too.
So,
The other item that I think is of interest, and of course, current legislation session ends this week, Friday or Saturday one. There's House Bill 1210, and last time I checked, it was still in committee. It's delaying the new lit system until 2029, which would be a positive for us. That means our lit, as we receive it today, right, from the county, continues. So this would be positive, but I didn't look at it today. I think I looked at this last Friday. But again, legislature ends in a week, so I'm not sure this will make it. There's several outstanding. And that's it, because I made my amendment on the minutes. That's all I got.
I don't have anything.
Steve?
Last Wednesday, I was at the quarterly meeting of the Southern Indiana Development Commission. I'm on the board of directors of that, and I met with, and most of the meeting was their budgeting for this year, so it really didn't impact local municipalities, but I did talk to Greg Jones, he's the executive director when it was over, about like the issues with how we connect with the state regarding like this possible J-turn thing, which is still up in the air at Patton Hill in Maine and 37. Going to talk to him a little bit more about that. One thing I want to find out is he knew about it, but how does he get this stuff, or how can we be first to know about it? We shouldn't be last to know. So it's not set in stone yet. I did talk to both. I don't have their names or titles with me, but two folks that are intimately involved in the project. One guy's at the nuts and bolts of it. The other guy's above that and several other projects. So it's his boss. Had a good talk with them. I may go to, I think their office is in Vincennes. I would love to sit down with them, find out more details so we really know, because it does impact anybody that uses that intersection. And that's one of the only three ways in and around the town. So still up in the air. It's not set in concrete. I told him that although stats show the safety of it, and that's great, I still want them to look at what are more alternate things. I even thought, I have seen, like the other day at some of the bigger intersections in central eastern Indiana, some huge roundabouts. I mean, I'm not suggesting that, but there are more ideas than just J-turn there, or just a light with a different cycle. One thing I asked him about is, what about cameras? And he didn't know, in Arizona, they have speed cameras and red light cameras. And just today, as I was waiting to come to this meeting, waiting for my turn to go, light turns green, so I know it's red for everybody else. Guy sails right through it. And that's the biggest problem, is the red light runners going north-south or south to north. So it's a whole lot more to this than when it's going to be done. They have primarily finished most of what they're doing there. Some of it is, I guess, with the sensors that are doing more of AI estimating when they should do the cycles for the lights. I think it's improved. I haven't waited as long to make left turns from northbound to Rolling Acres. I don't know if you folks have seen like southbound waiting to go, into town from this end. So anyway, still a lot in the air, but a lot more is going to be worked on that. But that's really the only main thing I had.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Carl,
No, I don't have anything.
Greg, have anything for the board?
No.
Okay, there being no other town business to come before this February 2026 monthly meeting of the Oolitic Town Council, I make the motion to adjourn this meeting at 8:08 PM EST on February 23rd, 2026. Is there a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries, so this meeting is adjourned.
Can I turn it up?
Yeah.
Probably went down.
Yeah, I'll get that number, I guess.
And so these people that they own his name.
Okay.
Thought they were reading it like they thought they had church.
You gonna reference? Go ahead, go ahead. Go get that number.
Names.